Well, hello and welcome all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land to the Texas Special YouTube channel. And for this final product review of June 2025, we have this gorgeous Lionel Southern Pacific Heritage Unit SD70ACe. Now this is a Union Pacific engine, obviously done up in Southern Pacific's gorgeous daylight scheme. This is a model of the actual UP1996. Seen it many times, and if you're a regular viewer of my Railfan videos, you've probably seen it more than a couple times on the channel too. The product number for this guy is 6-28281. This is from the 2008 catalog. This was the very first, this is from the batch of the very first offerings that Lionel put out on these heritage units. The Locomotive is from that large secondhand lot that Mr. Ethan Tate acquired that was poorly kept, to say the least. However, the Locomotive does operate. Now, for whatever reason, I cannot get this dadgum thing to respond to my DCS like all the other Lionel locomotives I run on here regularly. So we're going to do the talkie portion, and then we'll run through the actual features and demonstration of the features and the running portion at the Texas Model Railroad Club on the O-gauge layout, since it seems to run just fine on that. The engine features Lionel's legacy control system. You're able to run this engine in legacy, TMCC, or conventional mode, and supposed to be able to run it on DCS with a TMCC or legacy command base hooked up to the DCS TIU. Comes with Rail Sounds 5.0 sound system with crew talk dialogue, tower comm announcement, 8 diesel RPM levels, legacy speed control, Odyssey speed control basically, directional LED headlights, illuminated number boards, front and rear electro couplers, dual maintenance-free motors with momentum flywheels, traction tires, a fan-driven smoke unit, die-cast metal trucks, pilot and fuel tank, a metal frame, and separately applied details throughout. The cab features interior illumination when stopped and operates on a minimum radius of 0.36. So what that means is this engine will operate on curvature as tight as 36 inches circumference, a 36-inch wide circle of track. Now, since we're not going to do the run portion here, we can at least go over some of the details on this engine. You can see separately applied brake cylinders and piping. You have the brake shoes. You have the correct style of EMD trucks. You have some very nice paint separation, what you would expect from a $500 locomotive, which is what this is. The hand railings are very nicely done. They're not oversized, they're not overly thick. And if you didn't know, the hand railings on Lionel locomotives, at least the Legacy and TMCC locomotives, that's the antenna, y'all. You have sliding cab glass, crew figures in the cab, a conductor and engineer. These vents, none of the vents on, or excuse me, the vents back here are see-through. These vents are not, this vent is not. All of the little warning labels and declarations throughout the locomotive are legible, albeit some of them require use of a magnifying glass. The Southern Pacific on the long hood is centered in the correct spot, along with the proud heritage, powerful future, Union Pacific logo, and Building America. You have the sight glass on the fuel tank. You have this fuel line here. You have the emergency shutoff button here, and there is supposed to be a fuel filling nozzle here, but it looks like it's been broken off, and this is a digital fuel gauge. You also have all the requisite piping throughout. This little light here comes on, and you have more of the same on the rear of the locomotive with this truck here as far as the air brake detailing. The pilot, surprise surprise, is separate from the body of the locomotive. That allows this thing to take curvature as tight as 036. Otherwise, you'd be lucky to get this thing to squeeze through 054 and remain coupled to cars. On the rear of the long hood, you can see separately applied grab irons going all the way up on the conductor side of the locomotive, as well as the single vertical grab iron in the correct spot, and a sand filling nozzle here. Going back towards the front of the locomotive, you can see the sand filling nozzle here and a grab iron separately applied here. On both ends, you have the prototypically correct FRA mandated contrasting color for the ends of the hand railings by the steps there and here. You have contrasting paint on the coupler cut levers on both ends of this locomotive. And you have the prototypically correct 5-chime air horn. Sorry for the glare. That's the only way I can get the MU hoses to show up. So you have the MU hoses on the snowplow. You have the grab iron on the snowplow on the edge on either side. MU hoses here. The front electro coupler. Again, the coupler cut lever separately applied. You have this nice white striping, which is actually reflective tape on the prototype. The gorgeous Southern Pacific lines centered on the nose. Clean separation between the various stripes of paint. You have the operating ditch lights, which unfortunately, when you blow the horn, they flash like an NS or a CSX engine, which irritates the ever-loving hell out of me. I don't know why. It can't cost that much to have a separate lighting module, or at least program a feature in where you can have the ditch lights stay on. Because the only Union Pacific engines that the ditch lights flash on are ex-Southern Pacific locomotives. That is it. Other than that, the headlights, the ditch lights do not flash on UP engines. I've had that argument before with a couple of people on YouTube. I work with these things every day, the real ones. I promise you, it only does it with former SP power. Anyway, you have the grab irons separately applied leading to the top of the nose. You have another grab iron right here. Grab irons here, here, and here. You have nicely done separately applied windshield wipers. The UP reporting marks, 1996. This was required since the engine is emblazoned with Southern Pacific on the side of the long hood. You have grab irons here and here. On the rear of the locomotive, you have again the separately applied coupler cut lever, rear electro coupler, the MU hoses, the little keeper bars that these are supposed to be behind on the prototype. You have the chain, the safety chain is broken on this end. You have the see-through grille here, rear headlight, UP1996 on both sides in the appropriate spot, sand filling nozzles in the appropriate spot, and the single vertical grab irons in the appropriate spot. And if you can see it, there is safety tread all the way around on all of the walkways of this locomotive, pilot and long hood walkways. Here on the roof of the engine, you can see grab irons here, here. See-through grills over all three of the fans with actual fan blades in there. Now they don't rotate, but you know they are there. They're a nice effect. Again, the air horn. This is the smokestack. It operates. There's a fan-driven smoke unit in there. To fill the smoke unit, you just drip the appropriate amount of smoke fluid drops down in there, and you're good to go. You got the radio antenna and GPS stuff here, or actually that's the GPS. But yeah, this is all this is the correct arrangement for a pre-PTC compliant locomotive. While we have the locomotive down on its side like this, to access the user controls, the manual user controls, you pop off this dynamic brake cooling blister. And there you have several switches and controls. So we're going to move the camera and zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Okay, so you have the run program switch. This is for use not only in a command setting, but also is applicable in a conventional setting. Obviously, if you're trying to program the engine, you want it in program while you enter the information and let the system read and do its thing. If you're running this thing in a conventional setting, flipping the run program switch to program will lock the locomotive in whichever direction the reverser is programmed to send the locomotive when power is next applied. You have the rail sounds, signal sound switch here. You have the smoke, no smoke switch here. You have the Odyssey, no Odyssey switch right here. And this guy is to adjust the volume of the sound. Now, you can use a flat tip screwdriver, or you can use the knurled sides rather, to actually twist this by hand. And you have the flywheel of one of the two maintenance-free motors with momentum flywheel. And to put this back, you just slip it back on. Now, it is a bit of a tight fit, so be mindful of that, as I'm trying to be. And there it is, back in place where it belongs. There is footage of this locomotive running around on the Texla Model Railroad Club's modular O-gauge layout. So I don't really need to do a running portion of this product review. I'm going to be honest, I really want to. And I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to take back to the club anyway, so two birds, one stone. So I'm going to shut the camera down, and then when I fire it back up, we will have abracadabra'd and hocus pocus to the Texla Model Railroad Club. Alright, so as promised, we have done abracadabra'd our way to the Texla Model Railroad Club, and here's the modular layout. So let's fire this bad boy up.
You've got report. Over. Copy. Train is clear to move. 1996 out.
We'll turn that down. Okay, so with some of the rudimentary features as far as the... Oh, I forgot the rev. Okay, so now there's all the rudimentary features out of the way. We will back this thing up, couple up to its train, and send it around the Tesla Model Railroad Club's modular O-gauge railroad as promised. One other thing with the legacy system, you are able to quill, so